Gentleman yields back. I now recognize my friend from Mississippi, Mr. Ezell, for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a former sheriff with decades of experience fighting to protect the people and communities around South Mississippi, I'm eager to join the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Protection Subcommittee to combat the threat of the malicious cyber actors. Mr. Bagley, you've talked today about how JCDC aims to connect private industry with federal partners such as DOD, the intelligence community, and law enforcement. In your role, can you describe how JCDC interacts with local law enforcement?
Thank you for the question. From my perspective as a stakeholder in JCDC, from what we've seen is it's very issue-oriented. So, for example, if there is an issue such as certainly what we saw come to bear with Log4j, where CISA was rallying all members to come together, bring information, share information, and consume information. We've certainly seen involvement at all levels of government in where JCDC can share information, specifically in terms of how local law enforcement is prioritized within the apparatus of JCDC. I would defer to CISA leadership, but we've certainly seen involvement across industry and across government in JCDC.
Do you think the balance between CISA's asset response and the FBI's threat response activities has been successful?
I think that there are certainly different missions at play, and one of the strengths of JCDC is that it's not trying to necessarily define a brand new mission for all stakeholders, but instead be a centralized place where stakeholders with different missions can come and cooperate. And so naturally, the FBI having an interest in law enforcement and focusing on seeking justice for victims is one where the FBI obviously has its own resources and has its own ad hoc relationships with partners. But I think the strength is the FBI can bring its expertise to JCDC, and similarly, JCDC and its mission as a civilian agency focused on cybersecurity for regulated entities as well as a convener of public and private partnerships can utilize that expertise and the expertise of others. And I think that naturally strengthens the dynamic, especially if we think about having this system in place in the event of big events, such as the Log4 Shell, Log4j event.
Thank you. I want to move on the importance of leveling the playing field to ensure there's active participation from a mix of large and small-sized companies. What can CISA do to be more business-friendly in order to increase participation?
I think that as JCDC grows in its structure, I think it's important to put into place different structures so that as it expands, there can be different working groups that might be well suited for organizations of different sizes or organizations focused on different topics in general. So I think that's one way. I think also CISA, what we've seen in recent years is CISA has certainly demonstrated its ability to serve as a clearinghouse for certain types of information and proliferate that information to the community. I think that's another one where there is an awareness component in addition to, of course, a resource component when we think about the cybersecurity haves and the have-nots. And I think CISA has an important role to play and that it has been playing in recent years with regard to raising awareness not only about cybersecurity threats, but also cybersecurity resources and capabilities. And I would expect that that would continue to grow and expand and be for the benefit of smaller entities.
Thank you for your answer. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.